Hey everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Just Saying. It's really me, your host, Jessica Dean, and I know it's been a minute, but I'm back. Mic in hand, ready to dive into stories, conversations, and ideas that brought us together in the first place. So whether you've been patiently waiting or just stumbled in, thank you for being here. And just shout out to everyone that has been listening while I was on hiatus. I get notified every week in my email of all my downloads, and sometimes it's just one, and the other day it was a lot. And I just want to let you know that I see you out there and I appreciate you. So love that. Okay. So 5 years ago, when this podcast was just starting out with a microphone in my bedroom, I have since graduated to a spare bedroom. Uh, one of my very first guests said yes. She showed up, she shared her story, and she helped set the tone for everything that followed. And now, after all this time, she's back. She's a motivational speaker. She is an author, balloon artist. She's a mom, and she's my friend. Everyone, welcome, Faerie Grace.
Thank you. And I'm also now a grandma, so I cannot feel so guilty about the gray hair that I dye. But yeah, so I can't believe it's been 5 years, Jess. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you for coming back. That's congratulations about becoming a grandmother. I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
thanks.
Yay. So yeah, I know 5 years. That went by really fast.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to in regards to your businesses? So when I know 5 years ago you were still doing, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but more of the balloon artist and still doing motivational speaking, but now I feel like it's blossomed. So tell us about it. What's been going on?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, I have really tailored down the balloon twisting and really only use it as a tool in the motivational messages and the workshops and the things of that nature. And that was just when I became a biological mom, I just really had to change my priorities to fit what it was like to be a mom. And I was an older mom. I wasn't a spring chicken. So I knew that I wanted to spend more time with my son, and in doing that, motivational speaking, which I had tampered with prior, motivational speaking would give me more money than balloon twisting. Plus, it was my deeper passion. And I could still incorporate the fun and the art and the creativity of balloon twisting. So it started navigating more towards inspirational motivational speaking when I became a mom. And then over the last 5 years, it just really has grown because I've kind of pushed it in that direction of really loving being on stage and breathing life into people. I feel like I did that when I did the balloon twisting, where I'd have kids and teenagers. I'd even have college students when colleges would hire me, and elderly homes, and I would just breathe life into every person that came into my line, every person that stood for way too long just for a balloon creation, and give them that moment, give them that Disney moment where you wait in line for Cinderella for 2.5 hours, but when you're right in front of her, all that exists is you. And so I did that Disney heart and that heart that I was created with. But when I get on stage, I can speak to the masses and truly speak to every single person in that audience that's willing to hear, wanting to hear, desiring to hear. And I'm giving them life and I'm giving them encouragement and I'm just telling them they're amazing. So I did it more for it's more lucrative, but I also did it because I was maturing as now a mom, and that kind of fit more in it with motivational speaking than balloon twisting, which is just a lot of fun. When I was a balloon twister, I felt like a kid. I was a kid at heart, and I didn't work a single day of my life. I can truly say that.
I love balloon animals. Like, I don't
Yes.
know what it is about them, but like I just see them like I want one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're a lot of fun.
Can you make me like I think you made me a wiener dog one time. And I was like, I freaking love this. Like it is so childlike and innocent.
Hmm.
And so as an adult, when you're sitting there like, I kind of want that balloon animal.
Yeah.
It's like you said, you just that Disney moment of
Yeah.
like, oh, yay. Like,
Well, and I think that's the problem. I preach this all the time. We become Captain Hooks because we stopped being Peter Pan. We stopped having fun. We stopped allowing ourselves these simple joys that we think are trivial when we're an adult, or we've outgrown them, like the whole Peter Pan, Captain Hook concept. But the fact is that child that was in us is still in us as an adult. The little Jess is still in there. The little fairy is still in there. It's just a matter, are you going to keep feeding her and breathing life into her by saying, yes, I want that cotton candy. Yes, I want my face painted. Yes, the wiener dog balloon, please. Like, allow yourself to be the inner child. It doesn't mean you're immature. It doesn't mean you don't have intellectual or emotional intelligence. It just means you're not afraid to let your hair down and just have fun. And when you hang out with kids, they are full of such energy that we seem to lose as we get older. And part of that is because of the demands in our lives, like paying bills and making sure we have enough money and going to the job that we have to. But there are ways you can curtail that as well. But the fact is, we stop feeding the life of a child, and the child ends up turning into Captain Hook. So it's not that you're lacking intelligence. It's, in my sense, you're having a higher form of intelligence because you can have the joys of a child, but have the wealth and the riches and the wisdom of an older person.
I love that. What are like ways when you're, how do I word this? What are some ways that you spark joy during the day, just day to day, like when you're just, a normal day at home for Fairy, nothing really going on, no activities or no events planned. How do you spark joy in the mundane, I guess I should say?
Well, first of all, Jess, I love that question because there was a speech that I created and it was called, oh, what was it called? I can't even remember it, but it had to do with the power of your favorite color. And whatever the title was that I gave this speech, but it basically was your favorite color actually sparks joy in your soul. Like, they have shown through color psychology and research that when we see our favorite color, for a second, it sparks joy. And I had this realization in the home that I live in. We have a blended family. So yes, I'm old enough to be our oldest son's biological mother because his mother and I were the same age. She unfortunately passed away from cancer. Yesterday was actually her birthday in heaven, after I think 15, 16 years. So my point is, I moved into this house and it was already decorated. So we have 3 boys in our blended family and my husband. And at the time, even the dog was a boy. So it was just an all masculine testosterone home. And here I come in with my little guy. And if you can tell, okay, you might be able to tell, I like glitter. I like sparkles. I like pink. And I lived in this home that was my husband's, and he's a painter. He is an amazing painter, and he loves the beach. So he would travel the world to beaches. So if you come into our home, even though it's a farmhouse, we live on a dairy farm, it's full of life-size paintings of beaches, which is beautiful. I love the beach. I grew up in Virginia Beach, okay? But what I noticed after living here for a few years, I didn't have a single room. I didn't have a single place that really was my own because I was engrafted into what already was. And knowing the boys, my husband's biologicals, knowing they went through so much, I know they were teenagers. They did not want a woman and her toddler to come in their house, let alone bring flowers and glitters and sparkles. So I was very sensitive to the men that lived here and it being their home. But I found myself grumpy, no joy, and unsatisfied in coming home. To be very honest with you, it was dull. It was lackluster. And there was this pinnacle moment when our youngest son wanted chocolate milk and he wanted a straw. And I gave him a straw. And he's like, I want a blue straw. It's fine. You want your chocolate milk with a blue straw? And I gave him a blue straw. And he comes to get his chocolate milk with his straw because I think we forget that simple pleasure again of a child of how good chocolate milk is, let alone when you're a kid and you have a straw and you blow bubbles. If you did not do that as a child, please get a cup and some chocolate milk right now, preferably Turner Dairy chocolate milk. And then he looked and he's like, that's not a blue straw. It's a purple straw. And I said, no, it's a blue straw. And he's like, it's a purple straw. And then my old eyes, being an older mom, looked at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a purple straw. And I gave him a blue straw. He walked out of the room very happy now that I fixed the errors of my ways. And I thought to myself, would I really care what type of straw I drank out of? No, I don't think I would. Well, because we were going through so many straws, I thought I would be very, how we should be nowadays. And I got reusable straws at Walmart. And I took all this multicolor pack of reusable straws and I laid them on the counter to hand wash them. And when I looked down, I literally went, and a spark of joy came. It was a pink straw. I just happen to have a pink highlighter. That's not a surprise because I highlight things I love to do in pink. And I said to myself, Jess, oh my gosh, how can I recreate this moment? Because I felt joy at that moment. And I thought about it and I processed it and I said, I forgot my favorite color was pink. I just forgot it. And then I says, okay, how can I recreate this moment? Because that's what feelings do. And I want to sidetrack for a second for anyone listening. Feelings are not bad. Feelings are like the light on the dashboard of your car to say, hey, let's pay attention to this. Then you have to decide, well, if I feel scared, that means I need to change my situation. If I feel angry, that means I don't like this. I'm not going to redo this and I need to change something. If we feel joy, we can say, oh, I love this. How can I have more of this? So the little dashboard of my light of a feeling came on of, I love this. It feels so good. So I says, okay, what can I do? And I said, well, it was a straw. It's pink. It's my favorite color. I forgot. And I said, there's not a stitch of pink in this house. And I'm not saying that your favorite color has to become your decor, but it can become an accent of something. And, I then talked to my husband and we decided through wise counsel that I needed a place in this house. And so my husband was very nice and he says, okay, let's take some of this stuff out here. Let's move this up there. And I got an office and it was downstairs at the time. And I filled it with things that were pretty, things that were pink, things that were me, and that sparked joy. So what I'm trying to tell you is you have to fill yourself with things that make you happy, things that give you joy. That could be tangible things, meaning things you can like touch in your hand. They could be intangible. What's that?
Like crystals.
Like crystals, touch, tactical things. Yeah, you touch things.
Yeah.
So you have to put these things in your life that bring you joy. So for me, I realized it was my favorite color. So my first favorite color is pink. My second favorite color is iridescent glitter. And if I can combine the two at any given moment, it's wonderful. So for me, in my everyday life, I fill it with joy by putting things around me that give me joy. We know that your favorite color, people. So this is a thing that some people are not going to like and some people are going to take it the wrong way, but it's not me. It's them. So, and I'm very bold to say that you have to get rid of the people that are not giving you joy and are actually sucking the energy or toxicity or things that when you leave them, you feel drained.
Yeah.
There's other people that you're around. You may barely know them and they leave your presence and you're like, wow, I really feel energized. I feel good. And surround yourself with the tangible or intangible, whether it's people, things, or places, and that will bring you joy because you're hand picking, you're being intentional about what's around you. And this can go simply with music. Like if you want to change your state, one of the first things you can do besides moving your physical body and getting out of the situation and wherever you feel yucky is putting music on. And that's one of my big go-tos is I move my body, like I'll go for a walk at a local park. As soon as I'm getting in a really yucky funk, and or I put music on and I light candles. And with those, one of those three things, my state has changed to joy. So that is a long answer for a simple question, and you're welcome.
No, I love that because well, I really like that you highlighted that you have a blended family and that I think that's pretty much the norm nowadays. I think a lot of people have blended families and I think that's beautiful. And, I think that if you can make it work and that you have that support, that it's great because it just there's more love. So I think that's great. But
Yeah.
what advice do you give to other people who are blending their family or maybe in a spot where it's hard for them to find a place in
Mhm.
their home, kind of like you said, maybe they're in a restricted type of situation where they can't put things around that bring them joy. What would you tell that person or what advice would you give them?
So I definitely can understand that in many different ways because my past and my background is so colorful, and that means I have used all the colors in the crayon box from pink to the dark to the dismal to the murky brown to the blackness and just all the colors. And it is hard when you don't have a place to call home because your head never rests. Your heart never heals because you're in an unsafe environment or you're in an happy place. So my home wasn't bad because it was walls already covered, everything decorated in beautiful, what I love, beach, but it still wasn't mine. So I would tell my husband it would kind of be like you're at your grandma's house that you love and you're visiting, but you get restless at a point because you can't settle. It's not yours. So my heart goes out to you if that's where you are right now in your season. Um, but there's always a way of something. It may be a different shade of what you wanted. It may be a different level, but there's something that you can start to build off of and then go from there. So I would say to someone, see, like in our house, was there a space that I could have? But everyone kind of had to make like a small sacrifice. So that would be like a family meeting of, okay, I really need a place where I can put my sewing machine because if I don't sew for my hobby, my hands are getting idle and restless and I'm not feeling purposeful, which is making me sad. And that's really when we become sad. We become sad when we don't have purpose. So if we can have a meeting and you want to acknowledge everyone where they are, people want to feel heard before they can hear you. So going into it is like, hey guys, I know it's tough as a blended family. I know we're all already sacrificing. I'm appreciative of every person in this room. I do need, or not even how to say that, but I'm struggling with not having a place that I can just read. And sometimes that's a problem. Like you're an introvert and you just need to be left alone so you can read and everyone else in the house is an extrovert and high energy. And so you're losing your peace, you're losing your purpose and say, is there any way that we can make a 4x4 space for me? And that could be to put up your picture. That could be a closet that you close that's where you read and you put, a battery light in there and put some pillows. Get creative. Get creative of what can we do with this space. Another thing I like to look up when I need inspiration is Pinterest. Go on Pinterest and say small space for whatever. Maybe, you want to do some woodworking. Maybe you want to just have quiet time, whatever it is. Or maybe you want to play games, board games. You want to have friends over, but get creative and look online like Pinterest and things of that nature that will give you some ideas of what you can do. But I think first and foremost is talking to your family unit and saying, hey, what can I do to get a space? And thank you for listening to me. I know it's not easy. And after we talk about this, I'd love to hear maybe what you guys all need. Do you feel you need a space? And then get creative as a family and see what you can do.
I love that message. And I think that, like you said, having things around your space helps you feel joy and can help create that sacred space for you. Um, Also, speaking to the people who are in a place who that really isn't an option for them right now. I don't know what I was reading to or listening to, but like you said, create a Pinterest board. And as you see things that you like on there, like maybe you have a dream home, or maybe you have a dream space, or maybe you have a dream kitchen, maybe you're a chef and like you have really want to, find that on Pinterest and start really gathering up those images because that's really powerful, and then write it down too. So also, I heard if things keep coming to you, like if you keep seeing images of beautiful kitchens or images of beautiful homes, or maybe like you want a really nice pool and these things keep coming up to you, I heard that it's because it's for you in the future. Like you're getting a glimpse into your future. So like if it's like, don't be jealous. Like if you see someone, if you're scrolling on your social media and someone's like, hey, we just got the house and it's this, and you're like, oh, like, I kind of wish that was me. It probably will be you. Just keep working and manifesting and writing things down and believing it's for you. Because if you keep seeing things like that, so I mean, does that connect with what I feel like I kind of went off in a little tangent, but
No, I love it. I'm in complete agreement with that. I have a vision board. I dare not show you because then you'll see all the other paperwork on the floor that I just like shoved over there. But I have a beautiful vision board. I call it a beautiful vision board because it is all the things that I want and that I'm aiming towards. And I 1,000% agree. You need to have pictures around you to pull out that inspiration, to put it on the RAS, the reticulating activating system of your brain, of your frontal lobe, I believe, if my memory is correct, but you're putting it in the forefront of your mind. So with that, yes, there is a universal law that you are going to attract what you keep thinking about. Where your energy goes, your focus goes, like that is going to pull it towards you, and vice versa. So you're going to be like a magnet to what you want. So when you see these things, it's sparking you, and it's inspiring you, and it's putting it in the forefront of your mind. And it's really no different if you just bring it in a simplistic form of you write notes down, right? Like I need milk. You write it down. So we know it's effective. Because if you write your grocery list down, even if you forget it, when you go to the store, you're more likely to get everything or close to everything just because you wrote it down versus if you only thought it, but you never wrote it down and you go to the grocery store. You may get 1, 2, maybe 3 of those items on a good day. So if we know that it's effective for grocery shopping, why wouldn't the same principle be effective for the things you want in your life? You're remembering it. So it's going to draw. There was a dress that I found at a yard sale in a little town by me, and it was $1, and it looked like it fit me. I wasn't sure, but for $1, I was willing to try it. And if it didn't fit, I'd donate it or give it to someone. But it was the most beautiful little dress, and it had see-through sleeves, and it had patches of flowers all over it. It had an elastic band, belt waist area, so it fits you nice. And then it came out and it had the same pattern of the sleeves of like this beautiful floral print. And it was just so unique, so beautiful, but it didn't even have a designer on it. Like it didn't have a name, but it was very, very feminine. And one of the things I said last year with, again, writing things down, having my vision board, always. I mean, I've done that for years and it's uncanny all the stuff I get off of it. Even my debt. I would put my debt like $5,000, credit card from Discover, $2,000 Disney credit card, $800 TJ Maxx. I would put my debt on there and just look at it. And my debt would come down quicker than would even be
seeing it up there too. Like you wanted to do something about it.
yeah, I mean, it just happened. It makes you active. So I get this beautiful dress and we were talking about vision boards. I had ladies come over. We made vision boards at my house. And I was just saying, I got this dress at a yard sale. And I said last year that I'm changing my look into very feminine, very tailored clothes, with floral and pops of red. So I knew what I wanted. And I had pictures of these dresses on my phone. I had them printed out. And I said, I got this dress at a yard sale, not even looking like for dresses, just a yard sale. And it looks like one that I had on my vision board. So I pulled up my phone because I knew it was on Pinterest. I pull up my phone to find it.
Mm-hmm.
What I found was not the dress that I knew it was inspired off of. I actually had a picture of the same exact dress, but in black. Same exact dress. So here, unbeknownst to me, I actually found the exact dress, that it was a designer dress. Now, the one that I got didn't even have a tag to be designer, but it's just little things like that you don't even remember, but your subconscious remembers. And the law of attraction is real. So yeah, do a vision board of that little space you want. Take pictures off of there, print them, look at them, because your mind's going to go into the activity of how can we make this happen? Our brain does what you program it, from what you say to what you look at to what you hear. So if someone says, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're ugly, you're fat, you're going to start feeling dumb, stupid, ugly, and fat. And then the crazy thing is you're going to start acting like it. So you're not going to make good, healthy choices because I'm fat anyhow. You're not going to start taking care of your look or fixing yourself up because you're like, oh, what does it matter? I'm ugly anyhow. You start acting the things that you believe. So the thing with the vision board is not only posting up these beautiful, inspiring pictures of what you want and want to obtain, you have to believe inside of you you're worthy of it. You deserve having it, not in like an entitlement, but you deserve having it if that's what your heart wants and it's good and it's healthy for you and others. Nothing's stopping you. So it's really also getting rid of the false belief, because some people say it's not what you want. It's that you get. It's what you believe you deserve or can have. So you have to, with that, say, I can have it. I'm smart enough to have it. I'm wealthy enough to have it. And then you can say things like, I have a bed on there, a beautiful exotic bed on there. I could tell myself, how can I get the money to get that? So it's a part of dreaming, but it's also a part of asking yourself realistic questions. How can I get that bed? How can I get the money for that bed? So then you go into, well, how much is that bed? $1,200. $1,200. Okay. So I'll put $1,200 and I'll put, how can I get this bed? Because your brain is a higher form of a computer than what we know. Whatever you program into it, it will answer. You will get an answer. That's why you don't say, why is this happening to me? Because you're going to get an answer. So don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. That's not fluffy. Just ask the right questions.
I love that. Definitely focus on the positive for sure. There's so much going on in the world right now that can leave people feeling really icky. I haven't really been watching the news. I don't, partake in a lot of current events, but with all of the just it going on out there, I think it is so important just to be grateful and stay positive for small things. And two, like a vision board is an excellent way to signal to the universe. Not only are we out here hustling for the things that we want, if we just tell the universe, they're working just as hard as we are up there, and the universe will make sure that you get it as long as you're working for it. And you
Yeah.
believe, like you said, I truly believe I
Yeah.
deserve. You really have to, I guess, too, what is some best advice you give to people? How can people start to feel worthy of themselves if they're in a rut? What can they do to turn that around?
Yeah, I think we all go through phases where we feel unworthy, not good enough, not pretty enough, not financially wealthy enough, not good enough to have good friends or successful friends. I think all of us, no matter who you are, where you are, you get moments where you're like not enough. And I had a wonderful woman that came to an event that I had, and she said, yeah, my art therapist said to me, you're worthy enough. You're worthy enough, because she did not feel worthy enough. So she wrote it down. I'm worthy enough. I'm worthy enough. And she said, I'm still really struggling with it. And I says, okay, well, instead of just writing I'm worthy, which is great, definitely do that. Speak it out. I'm worthy enough. I have my affirmations when I get in a funk that I say that work immediately. Um, I said to her, now write down why you're worthy. Because the disconnect is she's saying it, but she doesn't know why and she doesn't believe it. Well, why? So you have to say, why am I worthy enough? Now, of course, we were all ladies at this event. So what did we start doing? We started telling her why she's worthy enough. So we're like, you're worthy enough just because you're you. Yes, that's true, but we need a little more sometimes. You're worthy enough because no one else is like you. You're worthy enough because you're funny. You're worthy enough because you're kind. You're worthy enough because, and we were just, you make really great cookies, because she brought cookies to the event. So it's saying why you're worthy. And that could be different for everyone. But I'll throw it another level for someone watching this right now that's saying, well, I don't feel I'm worthy enough. Say why you're worthy. But a stumbling block is probably because you think you're unworthy. Okay. Why do I think I'm unworthy? And this is where you have to be honest with yourself. So I was telling someone today, you know, you can't fill this cup up with a pumpkin latte if there's water in it. Like, you can't fill it up. There's already something in here. So I shall take a sip to my pretend pumpkin latte. So I said, before I can fill you up, I have to empty you out of the thing that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
So I need to take out salt water so I can put in this delicious homemade sweet tea. So the person, before she can or he say they're worthy and why, they need to say, why do they believe they're unworthy? And this is where you have to be honest with yourself. Get in that cup. What's in there? Well, my mom told me I was unworthy and she liked my brother better. Well, my grandmother said she thought that I made my parents get a divorce. So it's these things in us that someone else, intentionally or unintentionally, to be harmful or hurtful, spoke into us.
Yeah.
Or it could simply be we hung out with a group of girls that were great at ballet, and we tried ballet and they teased us and they're like, Gretchen, you can't even get on your toes yet. And then we felt unworthy. So we felt unworthy in one facet of life. And somehow, because we didn't become aware of it, we didn't see it at the time, it now has manifested into I'm unworthy in general. I'm unworthy to be a part of any group. I'm unworthy to have the popular friends or whatever it is. So if you're feeling unworthy, sit down and say, why do I feel unworthy? Once you acknowledge it, write it down At some of my speaking events, I have melting paper, dissolving paper, and I have them write down all their false beliefs because it's a false belief at the end of the day. Even if it's like I'm always late. Well, you have a bad habit, but it's still kind of a false belief. And or whatever it is, or I'm broke, I'm poor. Okay, well, why do I believe I'm broke? Why do I believe I'm poor? Well, I was born into that, and however you're born, you are, and everyone in my community, like we live here and no one leaves. So you picked up a false belief. So acknowledge it, write it down. And then you're going to take that piece of paper. If you use my paper at my events, you put it in water and it dissolves. It's gone. It vanishes. Or safely, it's fall right now, so you could have a safe campfire. Have friends over where you're like, guys, we're getting rid of our false limiting beliefs. And we are good enough. We are worthy enough. We are attractive enough. We are wealthy enough. We are healthy enough. And then you throw those lies away. You acknowledge them. You acknowledge where they came from so they can't have power over you. You denounce them. You rebuke them. You send them back from the pits of hell at which they came, and you throw it in the fire.
Yeah.
And you celebrate. And then this is where your affirmations can come out. I'm worthy because, I'm wealthy because, and then speak it out, write it down. So then when you're having a rough day and you default back to, the 30 years that you believe the false lie, you're going to default back into it when you're having a bad moment. I do. I know what mine are. I know my false beliefs now, but I'll default to them and I'll say, oh yeah, that's showing me that I'm that again. Oh, yep, no, it's a moment. It doesn't mean the whole past of that you threw away. So like if I said, I'm poor, and then all of a sudden I have a month where I don't have enough speaking events to pay my bills, what it looks like, then I'm going to say, oh, look, that's a confirmation. I really am poor. I really can't be successful at this. No, look at last month. Last month you had a $500 extra. So it's not saying that that's true. It's just saying you had a bad month, and then I'll go do something to counterbalance the antidote to what I know is or false and do what I know is true. Sorry, I feel like I gave a really long answer on that.
No, I love it. And I think our listeners will appreciate that too, because I really just want to get the awareness out that there are ways, healthy ways to go about dealing with life. If you're struggling or someone listening, I hope this just speaks to you and inspires you. And that's really, my whole podcast is just about sharing stories and information. So this is perfect. I love it. And thank you. So kind of switching gears over to your speaking events. So have you ever had an event where you're speaking and it's just like a bad crowd? Like, how do you turn it around? Have you ever had a situation like that?
That's a great question, and it just makes my mind like swirl at all different ways we can go with that. The quickest way is, I think, when you are doing your passion, when you are doing your niche, when you are doing your purpose, you will excel even in moments that someone else would fail. Meaning, I see this on like X Factor or shows where people use their talent, like America's Got Talent, okay, where someone shines in the midst of the crowd booing them, Simon Cowell being hard on them being freakishly nervous, whether they're going to do a dance move or singing or play the piano, and they're like a hot mess, but then they like, and then the magic happens. Why? Because it is their identity, their purpose of what they're meant to do in this life. So they can't fail. So for me, speaking is my identity. It is my purpose. So I can't fail because it's my true authentic self. Just like a chef on a challenge like Chopped or something, like they're going in it, they have 30 minutes, they're given these random items, and yet they excel. because that's their gift. So I do know there was one place that I still kind of like, I kind of want to go back to have a redo because it was a situation where, the kids were just, I was doing balloons in between. It was like, it was a business class of high school. And my speech was on people buy from those they know, like, and trust. So I took a very well-known principle in the sales business, bringing it to the kids, but then I was using a balloon for each stage. And I couldn't get these kids to engage for nothing. I couldn't get them to have the Yoda balloon I made for nothing. I finally just had to like put that Yoda baby down. And I'm like, what gives? And the teacher that had hired me, I said, listen, I've never been in a crowd so unenthusiastic, but they shined not when I was speaking, but when I put them in small groups to discuss and talk. And then they came alive. And so I was in tuned enough in my craft to realize, okay, I need to pivot. I need to talk less and then just drive them into their groups and then talk about it. And then not speak a lot, drive them into their groups, let them come alive. And then, so with that, my gift is being able to read an audience and learning how to pivot. A funny story, I did an event and there were children there, but it wasn't for children. It was for entrepreneurs and businessmen and women. And one of the people that kind of was high up there brought her children. And I did my balloons to pull the pieces together because people do. They, like you said, they just love the balloons. And I had these children and I thought, okay, let's, who wants to pass these papers out? And the adults didn't, but the children did. So I was like, all right, come on down. So the kids came, they're passing out the papers. I'm like, who wants to pass the pens out? And they were like, I'll do it. So they passed the pens out. Well, then at some point, I did not have a microphone. I always request like a lapel or headset microphone because I do the balloons and I didn't have one. So I finally just like worked the kids into the show. And I was like, I don't want to say his name. Let's make up a name. Connor. I was like, Connor, you want to come here real quick? And of course he did. And I said, can you stand on this chair? Because he was like 7, maybe 9. Can you stand on this chair and hold my microphone while I make this balloon? And he's like, yeah. So I'm telling this story to encourage these business people, do what you know. Like when I started my business, if you go on my website, there's a little short video I did during COVID about how I started my business with like $0, just had a divorce and went in there and was just plummeting with confidence because I didn't have all my paperwork you need to open up a business account. I didn't even have like but $75, just enough to pay to open up, file for my fictitious name and open up this account. And this banker is just like, you can feel he's like looking at me behind his cherry oak, whatever desk in his 3-piece suit. And I'm like putting the finest I possibly have while I'm like renting and left my house and everything, just my self-worth. And I'm plummeting and my lips getting sweaty. And at that point I said, okay, Faerie, like, you can go down with the ship or you can like make a U-turn and grab a life raft and be a mermaid. I'm paraphrasing there, but I like gave myself a pep talk. And I just looked up at him and I was like, I don't know paperwork. I don't know what I need to open up this account, but I know balloons and I know how to make a penguin balloon. And I know that people have proposed with my penguin balloon and people have stood in line for hours for my penguin balloon. And this man, softened, melted into human form again and was like, yeah, I guess I can't do that. And it just changed the atmosphere because what he realized in that trivial comment is He doesn't know what I know, and I don't know what he knows, but that's why we're working together to help one another. So as I'm making this penguin balloon and talking kind of about this, and I said, I just went through a divorce, my little Connor, who's holding the microphone, goes, "Did he cheat on you?" And I'm just like, all right, Connor. Everyone's laughing, but it was just like, and I'm like, well, Connor, there's just some gray areas in life, and we're just going to leave it at that. But he continued to ask questions throughout
Love it.
this powerful speech, and I went with it. I went with it and worked with my audience. I worked with this precious little kid that had something else to give. And he actually made one statement in that speech that I was like, that's a really good point. That's a really good comment. So it's at the same thing. If I truly care about my audience and I just let go of my script and my plan and realize I'm in the moment with these people, what do they need? What do they want? I might have come in with all these grandiose ideas, but my gift is having to know that it's different every time I go out there, and I have to trust my gifting and I have to trust my audience that I can give them the gift they need, not the one that I actually came for. So there are times when my speech actually changes depending on the venue to something I didn't think, but it's always what needs to be said because that's my gift. So,
Yeah. And I love that you pivoted because you said this was an adults event. You didn't prepare to have children. That's obviously
no.
two different sides of the spectrum there. So that's crazy that you're like, oh, I'm doing this adult presentation. And this little boy kind of takes over. So
Two little boys, mind you. But what's really funny is that company the next day sent me an email because I was a little nervous, right? Because things definitely went differently, but I still got out the message they hired me for, which was the balloons about the penguin. This company emailed me and they said, "We just want to let you know that we think you did a fantastic job. We got great feedback after you left. And we talked about how we don't know how you worked in the situation and all the distractions you got and still made it work. And not only that, months later, they rehired me for another big event." Yeah.
he's your boss. Your
Well,
boss.
thank you, love.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So, Faerie, tell people if they are interested in booking with you for any of your offerings that you have. Where can they find you or how can they reach out to you?
It's a great question. I wish I knew a simple answer. So talking about the ick that's out there, in the world and news and stuff like that, I actually got off of social media.
Okay.
So I have had no Instagram, no Facebook, no short reels of any kind for a few weeks now. And I am in the process of looking for a social media person that I can still make my posts on Canva for inspiration, short videos, interviews, and then someone else just posts them. So right now, it looks very unprofessional that I haven't posted in weeks. I haven't even responded. People, I feel like if they really want me, they'll forgive whatever lack of reason on social media that I'm not going on and find me through my phone number or through my website email. But that will hopefully change, and I'm rebranding. So I'm rebranding to Joy Life. I don't know if you can
Love
see
it.
that. There we go.
Love
Joy
it.
Life, make it happen. And that's basically, so that's why I said that funny about the joy. And the Joy Life is just helping people have joy in their everyday life. So instead of making it mundane, add some magnificent things that you wake up, even on a Monday, like I love my life. And so I'm rebranding and gearing it more towards women, but I'm still speaking in schools. I'm still speaking in companies. So the best way is just kind of Googling my name, Faerie Grace, and going under faeriegrace.com. My website is getting redone at this moment as well because I am rebranding and I kind of want to put newer videos and kind of clean up some of my old speeches and gear towards my new speeches that have done really well lately. And I just want to go in that vein. But they can reach out to you and you can send them my way, or faeriegrace.com and go from there.
Yes, wonderful. Well, Fairy, this has been great. I'm so glad we got to catch up. And what closing thoughts do you have for us, or just what should we leave with today?
I think knowing that you are of value, knowing that you are loved. Some people have gone through their whole life never hearing, I love you,
Mm.
not being hugged, not being touched. And there's something powerful and healing about a physical, human, safe touch. Right now, we're going into fall. We're going into winter. And in Western Pennsylvania, it's very dark out. It's very dismal. It's very gray. And on the sad note, suicide rates go up every holiday season, every fall and winter. And I just want to encourage people to let them know that they're loved. And we take our life not because we want to lose it, but because we want to lose the pain that we're currently in. And the best way to do that is to find purpose. When I was going through a really bad time in my life, the color crayon black and the muddy brown were just all I had around me. But inside me, I had hope. And what I would do in these very dark days, in this very dark season, and not having a place of my own, is I would go do something for someone else. I would do street ministry. I'd go and pray for people. I had a boldness. I'd walk the streets and be like, do you need any prayer? I would go and I would give out food, hot dogs, drinks, and have a little stand and just talk to people, pray with people, encourage people. I would take my balloons and I would just freely make balloons for people. I would go to nursing homes. I would go to youth shelters. I would go to children's places, and I would just give an hour or 2 hours of my time. And when I was in the midst of doing whatever the gamut, elderly home, oh my gosh, we need to just visit the elderly home. You feel sad, you want to take your life, go see an elderly person and give your life to them at that moment. You will feel enriched. You will realize you have purpose again. You will realize you do make a difference in someone's life and that someone needs you. And as I was going through my dark times, I would be like in the midst of just sobbing right before I got there, sobbing right as I'm leaving my place. And then half hour later, I'm with a little kid and I'm just like making him a balloon and just not thinking about my darkness, but being a light and seeing this kid light up. And I would just be like, oh my gosh, this almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
And other times it would just be like maybe someone saying, well, I don't really have the energy to give anything to someone. You don't feel like it, but it's in there. You don't feel like it, but it's in it. Just go. Go to a nursing home. Hey, who can I talk to today? Hey, I'm just looking to spread joy. Who can I talk to? Hey, I'm just looking to encourage someone for 15 minutes. Who doesn't get a visitor? Go to the children's home, whatever your gift or talent is. Maybe you can juggle. Maybe you can just tell them a story. Hey, what kid can I see just to encourage for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
It's going to change you more than it's going to change that person. And that's enough to keep going till tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow, who am I going to see? And I remember a lot of times, very recently, to be transparent, I was having a very dark moment of something that was out of my control that happened that was not okay. And someone I loved was not okay because of it. And there was nothing I could do. And I just sat here in my office and I just was like, I'm going down a mental rabbit hole of not good. I'm physically changing. I'm not in a good state. And I says, okay, go for a walk. Go for a walk. You know, you'll feel better. Get your earbuds in, listen to something motivational. And I did. I started walking. I put Tony Robbins in, and halfway through the trail, I started feeling better because he spoke life to me. I couldn't change the situation, but I could change me and make me healthy, that now I'm healthy and can help the person when I see them. Can't change what happened, but I can bring my light, my hope, and my love to them. It's not going to do them any good if I'm like, yeah, we're done, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to help them. Listening to them like that and giving them a shoulder and being silent, that's helping them. But to sit there and be like, yeah, the sky's falling. And as I was sitting there, I then got I'm sorry. As I was hearing this, I got really inspired and I started writing all my problems down in the situation of everything going on. And I took my phone and I'm writing it in notes. And someone came up to me and they said, you know what? You look like you could use a talking. You look like someone that could use some help right now. I don't normally do this, but I'd like to encourage you. Is that okay? And I said, well, I don't want you to not trust your intuition and gut. Yeah, I'm having a very bad moment. That's why I came out. I'm listening to some positive stuff. Let me finish writing this and I'll talk to you. Well, here it comes out. I didn't need to talk. They needed to talk. And I sat for 45 minutes listening to them.
Wow.
And I said, as I started walking back to my vehicle, because now it's late and the darkness is coming in and I need to come home. And I'm walking with the most lighthearted feeling. And I said to myself, you know, when you have light inside of you, even when there's darkness around you, you're still going to shine.
Mm. Love that.
And I was so thankful that I allowed myself to be transparent to my struggles of myself, honoring myself like, yo, you're going down a place you don't need to go. Get out, go for a walk, listen to something positive. And in that, I was able to encourage someone that was going through darkness. And we both left full of light. So I want to tell that person, hang in there. You are loved. You are wanted. You just don't know how many people love you, but I guarantee you there's more than you could ever imagine. And then how we can help them, and then go out and do something for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and do something for someone else. You're not going to be the same. You're going to be changed. And to us, when we are having a good day and we're not on that side that we can get, compliment people, hug people, tell them you love them. Tell them you appreciate them, whatever is appropriate. If it's a coworker and you don't want to hug because it might get funny business, give them a pump fist, give them a high five, bring them in a cup of coffee, bring donuts in, like be light this November and December and end of October when things get a little dark. Be light.
Keep on shining that light, Faerie Grace.
You too, Miss Jess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.